Guess what?
What's up?
I'm so excited. I finally got this bill paid. I didn't even know I had it. I got a text about a toll that was unpaid. You know what I did? I clicked that link, baby, and I just put my info in there, my social, my credit card, all that, and it's gone.
Oh, Eric, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's a scam. When was the last time you even traveled on a toll road?
Like a year ago?
Why would they have your phone number?
I don't know.
Oh.
Everyone has my phone number, I guess, right?
I think it's a good thing you're here today because we need to be talking with Jen Collis about cybersecurity, how to recognize it, and the best way we can protect ourselves. Oh, Eric.
Well, I guess that's what we'll talk about on this episode of the Principal Choice Podcast. Mm-hmm. Find your purpose, find your people, and find your place.
Welcome to the Principal Choice Podcast. Today we have Jen Collis joining us while we discuss cybersecurity and how to protect ourselves and how to recognize those threats. Thank you for joining us on the show, Jen. It's wonderful for you to be here with us. Today we're talking about cybersecurity and recognizing threats and how to kind of navigate that issue. We all know technology is a blessing and a curse, mostly on the curse side. We've all been a part of the downside of technology there. So when it comes to those cyber threats, especially because that is one of the main factors of why technology is so scary most of the time, what are some key things that we can kind of look out for to make sure we're staying on top of our cybersecurity and away from those threats?
No, that's some great questions there, Melina. I think 20 years ago, we didn't have to deal with these problems. People didn't, they would turn on their computer, they'd do their day-to-day job, and they'd go ahead and move on. And things have gotten so much in the technology space that we are using it all the time, from our banking to our emailing our friends and our loved ones across countries to even our day-to-day workload and everything we do in life. Our cars have computers now these days. And so it's really become a hot item of how we keep ourselves secure and protected. One of the things I can mention is looking at cybersecurity is we really look at defense and layers. And we also look at risk. So to kind of elaborate on those pieces there, we are protected in different areas from an organization perspective. So we look at things such as access control. That's going to be your username, your password. And then we go a little bit farther of multifactor. Multifactor is something that you are, something you own, something you know. So a lot of organizations default to, hey, let's send you a text message on that phone number you said is set up, or that email address that you said was set up. That's nice because in case somebody gets our username and our password, it gives another avenue to protect you from that data security piece there. Most organizations, over 90% of data breaches happen within seconds with just username and password. You add some complications in there with making sure your password's not a name, adding numbers, special characters. I like to call your firstborn son's blood as you go through these crazy passwords, trying to remember them all. But realistically, having that second layer of that other piece of identifiable information custom to you is really what's going to help get you protected on those areas. But then we look at the risk area of, we have that piece, but then we go further in depth of what type of data are we protecting? We want better security around something that's more sensitive to an organization versus something that's less sensitive to you. So I use a good analogy like a bank and our homes. Our homes have locks on them. That might be your first level. You might have, if you have something sensitive in your house, maybe you have a safe and you put like your secure documents in there. That's your second level. But if you're a bank, you're keeping a large amount of money, very high risk, very high target. So now they've got vaults, they've got webcams, security there, push button to get the police on board. So you have that inherent level of risk and also heightened security in these different layers to protect a bank versus your own home. Very similar with us in nature. We may start with the locks, then the webcams, then a safe in the house. Maybe we have the super secret vault, but we're not going to be putting in a $100,000 vault to go and protect maybe our $100 in a bank account. So that's where our risk and what we're protecting comes in. We're not going to put in a large amount of money to secure something that's not valuable. So having that balance there.
Yeah, kind of figuring out what the level of importance is definitely big because, if you have your example, like your Facebook login behind 16 multi-factor authorizations, is it really worth it? But, people are doing that anyways. So I know you mentioned the username and password is one of like the most prevalent ways that things get breached. Does that usually come from just like someone being like, oh, log into my computer for me? Or is it through like a different type of data breach? Like where do you usually see that happening? And how can someone make sure that or try to make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah. Well, obviously the easiest passwords to hack are going to be very simple things. So 8 characters or less, doesn't even have to include numbers. Those get breached in seconds. And they can do what's called a brute force attack. Computer program just keeps going, and eventually done.
Yep.
It gets in seconds. The longer the password, the more complicated the password, the longer a brute force attack can take. But even if you're at 16 characters with numbers, symbols, all of that, you're still at the max 2 to 3 months. So that's where adding that multi-factor piece comes in. But you make an excellent point. If I use my dog's name for a password, or if I use password 123, obviously don't ever use password 123. Be amazed.
Man.
I know. Did I guess it there?
Now I got to change everything.
I
No, I'm
know,
joking.
for sure. But trying to, the more complications factors in, there are pieces there that can make it easy detectable. So one of the things that attackers use is called phishing attempts. So they send emails in and it may look like something else. So, a lot of people are familiar with ones that come in. I'll use the latest example I got of, hey, there's a toll you need to pay.
I just got one of those texts
You
today.
just
I was going to bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
The toll, yeah. Click here to enter your details to pay the toll. It's funny because even one of my family members was like, should I go in and pay this? Because they had traveled recently. And I said, how do you think the car gave your phone number? And just that extra stop and pause was like, oh, they didn't. Right.
Yeah.
So probably not legit. So you have to look at certain things like that. Emails that come in, most organizations have what's called your junk email, but not all gets put into junk. Some of it comes through. And if it comes through, they're going to have the to, they're going to have who it's sending to, who it's from, and if it has a link in it. So the biggest things to look at in those emails is, first, do you know who's in the to field? If it says Eric, great. Do I know that it's the right Eric and it validates to the email address of Eric? Okay, that's good. If Eric, is he normally asking me for my bank account information? Yes or no? If not normally, then that's probably going to put a thing for pause. Also the tone, the tone of the email that comes through is very important. If it's like, hey, I'm in a hurry and I really need you to quickly resolve this. Can you click here and just patch me in so I can resolve this issue in a timely manner? Well, why didn't you pick up the phone and call me? That's one of the thought processes you want to kind of look through and think. Because eventually, a lot of times when you highlight over that link, they can make it say whatever they want it to say. It could say it came from, mybank.com. But when you hover over, that link may actually say like a micro link, like AKA or .biz or something that's not from a site that we actually know. And so that's one way that they can get you. You go to these sites, you think, and when you get there, it's very easy to take the code and make a website look just like the legitimate site. And so then you're logging in, you think it's your bank and it's not your bank. And the next thing you know, you've already given them your credentials. Sometimes they're even like, hey, let me send you a code to validate you've logged in, just like a bank. Well, guess what? You just gave them your phone number and you just gave them a 6-digit code back too to validate. Yeah. Then usually they're in. So it's just being aware of what to expect and what to really look at for those cues.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think one thing that you touched on was that second to stop and think about it first. I think a lot of people are click happy, and we see it every day, all the time, where it's like, oh, I accidentally clicked on this and now I have to take this course. And I'm like, why did you click right away? That's usually what I go to at starting that conversation. Because I think that's what we're usually lacking the most when it comes to these things. It's, yes, you can say it's a generational thing or an age thing, which is fair. It happens. We hear every day about, the elderly that they get a phone call and now they're out 2.3 billion in like the whole United States for the past 4 years. And you're like, what? But they don't know everything, but so do we. I almost clicked on the toll one the first time I got it, but I was like, wait, when was the last time I drove out of town? 8 months ago, they would have sent me something in the mail by now. That's what they would have sent, because I took that second to stop and think.
That pause is very important. I even had somebody talk to me this week about a purposeful pause. We are such a fast generation of people. It's about quickly solving a problem and moving on to the next thing. You look at your iPhone or your Android, everybody hates seeing the little red bubbles of missed messages, missed texts, missed phone calls. It's imprinted in our mind of, I have something I need to look at. Now we have notifications on our Instacart to our, to the Candy Crush that we haven't gotten to in 24 hours. And so because of that, it's trying to draw us in to do the next thing. And that's what is very important for us to take those meaningful pauses and think, is this something I'm expecting? Is this something legitimate? Whether it's in our business sector or it's in our private personal lives, because ultimately at an organization level, I am only as secure as my end user. And that's why it's important that we train our associates and train people, not just to help our org be secure, but also for themselves personally in their day-to-day life as well.
Sure.
Absolutely. I love that too, that taking a moment and not jumping the gun, because I know that when I do take the time and I look at the things and I look at the details of like the email, that might be a phishing email, I have a better idea now. No, I don't trust that, compared to when I'm in the zone, I'm working, I'm going too fast, I see something that kind of looks familiar. Those are the times where I've been like, that could have been very badly for me. And I'm very lucky it didn't. So I think really reiterating that and really making sure we take that pause is very important, because I'm the same way. I've gotten those toll texts and I'm just like, I haven't been out of town. Goodbye. Report and goodbye. That's usually what I do. But not everybody's fortunate. People travel for their jobs. It's a very easy scam to kind of get, scammed with, I guess. Yeah. That was not very clever. Sorry. Now, that kind of brings me to the next thing I want to ask, and that is kind of out in the real world. We know that there are some things that we can do to protect ourselves, like you said, in the home with our web cameras and extra security and layers in that instance. But what are some other ways that we can protect ourselves from people using technology out away and in the real world? Like I know of like the scan readers that are on ATM machines, or at, when you're swiping your credit card at the gas station, things like that, where they put those fake readers in, or scanning your wallet and getting your card because it's a tap and you didn't have the right kind of, like, what are some things that we can do to kind of be on the lookout and be aware and kind of be prepared for those sort of kind of other quote unquote cyber attacks?
You hit a good point there. It's being aware. And it goes not even in the security of cyber, but even in our physical security, it's being aware. So you think of, what do I have on my home? Am I looking at, do I lock my doors? Like most of us grew up, we automatically hit the deadbolt, go to bed, whatever. And we're used to that. That's become ingrained in our habit. But are we also the type of person that leaves our handbag and our purse too in our garage and then walk in the door? That's one level of physical security that most thieves go in through the garage because nobody's listening to their garage. All the bedrooms are typically upstairs on a split level or bungalow or however it works. So you got to look at those pieces of awareness. Same with your home. Are you advertising your last name? Are you advertising your kids' accomplishments in your yard? Are you going and saying, pets live here? Fido, my dog, may come get you. Oh, those are great cues for your personal being that can be used against you. Because one of the things that some of these cyber attackers is they look at what can they find about the person depending on what level of business they're in. If they're a business owner or maybe they're in a prominent place in the government, they're going to specifically look at what can I tie to that person to draw them in. So they may use, hey, we saw about your recent vet bill with Fido. Why don't you click here to go ahead and access their account information? Next thing you know, they've given things away. And they may not realize it, but if it was listed that, oh, my neighbor's dog was sick or something in their home, they can use those pieces against us. Or if you close on a home, how many times do you get the offers for home insurance or mortgage insurance or changing your providers there, filing claims when your hailstorm happens? All of those cues are because of understanding the situation. And so we have to be prepared of what to look for and what information we give away at those points in time.
Yeah. Just makes me feel like, am I looking at everything the right way? Am I really being that aware? I think, I'm not going to say I pride myself at being like super aware, but because there's things everyone misses.
Oh, yeah. We're human.
But I think that's one of the things too, that it's those small things, like you're saying, like with social media, like, are you throwing everything out there? We all probably have that family member that every time they go somewhere new, they put it on Facebook and they put a pin or whatever. And I'm like, and if this person knows where you live and they see that you're in Texas, well, now your house is in jeopardy. Not saying we should be living in fear, but you're giving hints. And even like you were saying, I know people put those signs up that's like watchdog or whatever.
Yeah.
That could be used against you. I'm thinking of like the crazy scenario in a movie where they put like sleeping pills in some meat and they throw it to the dog, which yes, that's crazy, but you have to kind of know what you're pushing out.
Done.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what's kind of interesting. If people want to get there, they're going to do it.
Exactly.
Honestly. And realistically, for us in cybersecurity, it's not a matter of if we're going to get breached. It's a matter of when and how, what controls we have to protect us. So even with looking at yourself personally, you don't want to keep the same password for every single account. Why? Because if they've gotten into your Facebook and that's the same password for your bank account, guess where they're going to go? They're going to try it. And it's the same with the business aspect, is if we've gotten a breach in there, we want to look at what avenues we can control that. We look at pieces of what access levels do you have in the organization. We don't give everybody all the keys to the kingdom, but it's based off of your role. It's based off of what you need to do your job successfully. And it's the same in your personal life there. Your kids have probably location services to find your phone, whereas you may not choose to find your phone on your Instacart order. Your Instacart person just needs to know to drop off on your front porch and move on. So it's keeping that balance of all those settings where they want you to default yes, they want to get you with the advertisements and those little red bubbles, but you really want to look at what data are you giving out. And then also when you participate or sign up to things, what data am I choosing to share with them and how do they manage it? What do they do with it? There was a good article about one of the recent social platforms and government entities of not having it on there because of where that data for location services may be utilized. We want to look at those things for ourselves. If I'm working at an organization and they may post it externally, am I aware of that? Okay, well, am I okay with that? Making sure we understand where our data about us is going and also how to purge it. If I'm closing down my Facebook tomorrow. Do I know how to close that out in the point where, not that I just stop using it, but how do I get my data back? How do I go and say, the last 10 years of my life on Facebook, I don't want it out there anymore. I want to shut it down. Being aware that there's not just that inactive piece, but there's that proactive follow-up of closure.
Yeah.
And that's really important for everyone.
Yeah. I wish I could just knock on Mark's door and be like, no, give me all my data back, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Mr. Mark, Mr. Facebook, I need this back. If only it was that easy, right?
Right.
One last thing that I kind of had in mind when you're saying knowing where the data goes, I think that's something that probably everybody just clicks accept on because we don't have the time or the wherewithal to read.
Terms and conditions.
Yeah, this like
Exactly.
30-page
They're
thing.
so long.
Do you know of like any resources that make that easier to figure out? Like, have you been able to like maybe like brush up your skills of reading that? What ways have you done that? Or even if there's just like, yeah, like there's this thing here that really helps. What would be some suggestions to someone who's starting to become aware and wants to now understand?
Yeah, no, great question. So unfortunately, a lot of reading comprehension comes in there. I am going to say I have read my terms and conditions. That's something I need to know from an org level, but also as an individual level too. You know, I do a lot of that with what do I allow my kids to have because I want to make sure I'm protecting my family the best way I can as well. There are tools out there. I will tell you that Copilot.microsoft.com, or if you're a participant on Google with their Spaces, G Suite has their own AI functionality where you can take a document, you can upload it, and you can search for keywords. And I would recommend to people, if they have an option to those free AIs, to upload those and then search for privacy, data, you know, on those specific keywords to see what's happening, or even cancellation, how to get your data back. Because those are the pieces that you're right. We don't want to read 30 to 120 pages, but we do want to understand. Most websites too have an info customer service. Ask the question. They're supposed to give it to you in simple terms as well.
For sure. Cool.
Absolutely. Well, now I'm going to have to start reading my terms and conditions. So thank you very much. I need to do that. I needed a good swift kick to be like, Melina, did you read them? Because I can confidently, unfortunately say I probably have not. Probably skimmed it and went like, I'm going cross-eyed. It's fine. Goodbye. Like it's
same
it's
as
fine.
everybody else.
Yeah,
We've
same
all
as
done it.
most of them. So I appreciate that and helping us open our eyes to what would help us protect ourselves and our families as well in the future. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your amazing wisdom that you shared with us today.
No, not a problem. And like I said, it's all about a balance. What matters to you and what is it going to be for importance to you?
100%.
Absolutely. Did you learn a few things, Eric?
Yeah, well, first I learned I need to go call my bank. So let's start wrapping this up. I learned that I'm very disappointed in my actions, but I'll take a positive, a silver lining. I learned how to be more aware. I learned how to spot those scams. I learned how to be more secure in a cyber and physical world.
Absolutely. And, you know, remembering taking that time to pause and think about what you're doing before clicking on any random links.
Very important.
Now you'll be better protected in the future. Please check out the show notes below and join us next time on the Principal Choice podcast.
Find your purpose.
Find your people.
Find your place.